Hey folks, if you're joining us for the new features webinar, we're just going to give it about 60 more seconds and then we'll get started. Just waiting for a few more folks to join. Thanks. All right, Andrew, you want to kick us off?
All right, let's go ahead and jump in. Okay, so welcome everybody to new features webinar for February 25th. Real quickly, we're going to go through the agenda. So as always, we'll talk through the new features and updates, everything that we have coming up. And then after that, Chris is going to talk through the roadmap. And then towards the end, we do have some announcements to stick around for, some new things coming up. And then, as always, Q&A to round things out. Just some real quick housekeeping. I think most everyone on the call at this point is fairly familiar with Zoom, but if you do have questions throughout the presentation today, go ahead and submit your questions there in the Q&A section at the bottom, and we will address those again towards the end of the call. All right, and so with that, I'm gonna real quick introduction. I always forget this part. I'm Andrew Triplett. I'm the Director of Consulting here at Touchpoint. And I'm going to kick it over to Chris to introduce himself and then take us into UI and UX changes.
Hi, everyone. My name is Chris Dolan, and I oversee product and strategy, and just a pleasure to be here and share some exciting new features with you. So let me go ahead and kick it off by talking about some UI UX changes. Similar to the thread of what we've been doing around involvements, we're making some other changes throughout the system. I'm going to give just a quick overview of some of those. And before these all go live, we'll be shooting a short video so that there's no surprises. And don't worry, they're not as dramatic as the involvement changes. So your people will actually find it much more intuitive and easier to find things. So even in the menu here, we're reordering and just cleaning up some of the language on here so that the involvements and people menu are more consistent. On the people page, we're making things like adding roles or managing roles a little easier and fewer clicks. The same thing around managing family members and related families and editing photos, just cleaning up some of those things on the user interface. The biggest, most dramatic changes will come on the search builder, but I think everyone will agree when they see this, it's actually just going to make it much easier and more intuitive to build and manage searches. So here on the Save Searches page, you'll now be able to click and easily add a new search from here or copy an existing search, editing or deleting searches. If you're not familiar with drafts, they were previously called scratch pads. The system actually saves the last 5 searches, whether you have saved them or not, called drafts now. And so that is a really powerful feature that is easy to click the box and you can filter for the last 5 drafts for each user. On the actual search builder page, we're just cleaning this page up a little bit, making it quicker and easier for you to save or save as, similar like you already do in Word or Excel. Getting back to the save searches, finding a new box. Your conditions are listed here, your results are listed here. We're changing some little things like the way the tag works, just trying to make this page as clean and as easy to navigate. It's a very powerful tool, and we just want everybody using it as much as they can. So we're really excited about some of those changes, and it should be very intuitive and easy to use. Next is some changes to, if you're not familiar with this, it's an admin tool that allows admins to update a field and we're going to be adding the ability to assign or remove roles here. Really powerful feature that you can do in mass. So you can run a search and then you can mass update people. So that is coming. And some changes to the duplicate. This is, again, is another admin tool, but can be assigned to various people that, come in contact with duplicates, maybe on your finance team or your children's ministry. And some things that are coming are like the ability to choose a photo between records. And there's lots of things that happen behind the scenes. And now you'll be able to see those things and actually choose if you don't want to move some of those items. So those changes are coming here shortly, and some SMS changes as well. We've heard that on reply words, on reply words, it's actually helpful to have a custom message for unknown senders that use the reply word. So that's something we're adding the ability to have a text message sent to yourself. You'll also, just some little things here and there, like linking back to the actual person's record to make it a little cleaner and easier for you to get there. Showing the message now instead of using the title field, and a few other little tweaks here that we'll release in a blog post as these things get finalized and tested. This is a big change that you'll be seeing coming in the next several weeks, and it is the start to a bigger project that we have been working on, and you might have heard about at the 2020 summit that we had in the fall. And this is adding directories per involvement, and this is related to the mobile app. So if you're using the mobile app, on the person's involvement tab, you'll be able to turn on directories for specific involvements or not. And so under settings, you'll have directory settings where you can check to use a directory, and you'll be able to set what the leader visibility is, as well as what members are able to see about each other. And you might be wondering, are the users able to manage their own settings? And yes, this is all actually live screenshots from a test site that we have, and so this is all in development, and we're in the testing phases right now. So there's a few little things here that you're going to see like cleaned up on some of these pages, but the user can actually go in on their profile and manage their own privacy settings. These will also be able to be managed through the app, where if they want to set default privacy settings for all of their directories, or they can override that at the individual directory level and say, I might want my small group to be able to see this information, but because my Sunday school class is a really big group, I may not feel as comfortable giving out things like my birthday or my address. So users will be able to set and manage their own privacy settings, really robust, and this is coming. This will be rolled out first, so you can start setting this up, and then it will be rolled out. It is in development on the mobile side and scheduled for our next mobile app update that should be in the next several weeks, 1 to 2 month time frame. So just wanted to give you a heads up on that. And another thing that we've been talking about, I just wanted to give you a quick preview, is task and notes. Again, this is an actual screenshot from one of our developers coming together really well, and I can't wait to roll this out. Task and contacts is becoming task and notes, and it's getting a whole new user interface. It's going to be laid out on what is previously the ministry tab. Is going to be the Touchpoints tab. You can rename that if you'd like, but we thought it's a fun way, because these are touch points that your staff and your lay leaders have with congregants, and they'll be, when you get to that person's tab, you'll be able to sort by the tasks that are owned or assigned to that person or that are about that person. You'll be able to quickly search them. You'll be able to do mass actions, as well as filter by just open ones or maybe closed ones. It's going to be using keywords instead of all those drop downs. So we're really reducing the number of clicks, making it super easy to use. We really got some great feedback from you all, and we're really excited about this new feature that should be coming out later this spring. So just wanted to give you a quick heads up on that. And Andrew, I'll turn it back over to you on mobile.
All right. On the mobile front, on our new features webinar last week, we talked about 3 new features that are set to roll out here really quickly. Those being ticket scanners for our churches that are using the ticketing features, You will have the ability now to use the mobile app to scan those tickets. As you can see in the screenshot there, that one says ticket already scanned. You'll also get another message, scan approved, which then in the system itself is actually updating the meeting to indicate that this person is present, and then increasing the head count for subsequent tickets. In the center there, we're going to release deep links for the giving pages now. And then finally on the right is the notes, sermon notes. So those features are queued up and ready to go. Before we took them live, we wanted to go ahead and sneak in 2 other new features I'm going to tell you about in just a moment. But those are ready to go. We've already sent them over to iOS and to Android, so they should be live in the next days or week or so. All right, so the first of those features that we're kind of sneaking into this release is status flags in mobile. So this has been a common request, the ability to leverage those status flags that are on the website and be able to view them within the mobile app now on the people record. So if you're going to people search, if you're going to your own record, you'll see those status flags. They work the same way that they would on the website. That portion does scroll left to right, so that's what I'm showing there in the screenshot. So you have the ability to see all of the status flags that might be applied to a single person. So as you're out making contacts and that sort of thing, you'll know more about the person. Speaking of contacts, this is a feature, again, we talked about it last week on the new features webinar. I'm really, really excited about this. I think this is an awesome enhancement, so I'm pretty pumped. But the ability now to save a contact to your phone. So Chris is there, he has the cursor over the new download contact button. So as you navigate to an individual's record from within the app, now you can tap on that icon to download their information into a contact on your device. So if this is a person that you're contacting frequently, and you don't need to pull up their app and you don't need to pull up your church app anymore, now you can just go straight to the contact from there within your phone. So just making that feature even better. All right, a couple of reminders to talk through. First, online giving. We're encouraging everyone to get moved over today. We can tell you the vast majority of our churches have moved from the legacy giving to the new giving pages. It is very smooth, but if you have any concerns or you just need to get a few questions answered before doing so, we've been hosting roundtables for the last few weeks, and the next one is coming up on March 4th, so next Thursday at 2 o'clock Central Time. So those have been really productive for the folks that have joined us. Please plan on attending that to get a few of your answers, a few of your questions answered, and just kind of talk through real life scenarios. What if this, what if that? But it is a very simple transition. Like I said, a lot of our churches have done it. There's a lot of cool new features in the new giving module. One is the ability to donor covers fee. So we have one church in particular that they've reported back to us that about 70% of their contributions now come in with the donor covering the fee. So it's taken their contribution fees down to very, very small. They're getting to keep more of the tithe from the congregation. All right. Next is ticketing. So Easter is right around the corner, believe it or not, in early April. And it's not too late if you do want to use ticketing. We do have some churches that have decided to use the new ticketing features to open the building. The reason they've opted for ticketing is because it provides an avenue for safe reopening. One of the features built into the ticketing module is social distancing. So not only are people selecting the seats that they'll be sitting in when they attend service, the system is actually going to handle your social distancing for you. So if I have a seat for me and my family, then the 2 seats to my right and the 2 seats to my left will be blocked off to ensure distancing from the closest people to me. So really safe, really easy way to do that. It's not too late to do that. If you're interested in using ticketing or just asking questions about it for reopening your building, email the email address there on the screen, consulting@touchpointsoftware.com, and we can talk through that. All right. And then lastly, check-in dashboard. If you've been attending the new features webinar, you are probably aware of this already, but the check-in dashboard is now live. It is up and running so that you can be using this. Again, another great way to open your building safely, make sure that you are not putting too many folks into one room, and you can kind of monitor that all from the check-in dashboard. All right, and with that, I'm going to hand it back to Chris to talk through the roadmap update.
All right, so as we try to do each month here, giving you a quick update on some of the roadmap features. On the web side, I already talked about and showed the task and contacts, and I saw a question come in about this already, so I'll go ahead and address that. Somebody asked when to expect that. We are working hard to get that out as quickly as possible. I would expect an early, kind of early mid-spring-ish release, and as soon as we have the development done and all the testing, we will actually be migrating all the existing contacts over for that. So we'll continue to send out updates as that progresses, but it's progressing very well, and I'm very excited about the way that's coming. The same on the volunteer calendar. This is something we've committed to in the roadmap, and many of you have asked about. We have been working really hard on this from a design and spec phase, just to make sure everything is thought through before our developers get started on that, and really excited about the way that's coming together. We've gotten some really great feedback from many of you out there, so thank you for that. And we are eager to get started on that actually very soon. We have a team that's finishing up on another project and should be getting started on that shortly, and many more things to come. Those are the only two I'm going to talk about on the website right now. On the mobile side, I talked about directories per involvement, and I mentioned how the robust privacy settings will be in place. One thing I didn't talk about is there is actually a setting that exists we're going to be moving and blogging about, that we'd encourage you to use, that will actually control what involvements will show on that involvement page within the mobile app. And so if you don't use involvement types, it's a really good way to organize your different involvements. So for example, you may want to let somebody see their small group or their volunteer opportunities, but there may be other involvements or things that you use for internal purposes that you may not want showing on that tab. And this is also true on there if they logged into the website. So we're going to be making that feature a little easier and more prominent, and it will control the mobile side as well as we roll out the directories. And then as we said, we will be integrating the same new features and functionality related to task and notes directly into the mobile app. So look out for that right after the directory update, and many more things to come on that front as well. So Andrew, back to you, Andrew, for some announcements.
All right, so a couple of announcements to talk through. First, I already mentioned the online giving roundtables, but that is coming up next Thursday, or the next roundtable is Thursday, March 4th at 2 o'clock. Be looking for communication on that so that you can get signed up for that. New webinar series starting next month on March 25th. In just one moment, Chris is going to talk more about that and what you can expect there. And then finally, we want to plug the 2021 Touchpoint Summit. So we are extremely excited about this, and we are planning on being together September 15th through September 17th, all together here in Memphis, Tennessee. One of our great church partners, Bellevue Baptist Church, is going to be hosting us. So we're all going to get together. It'll be like the good old days, face-to-face, going through the different sessions for Touchpoint. We're also going to be doing some kind of roundtable type sessions as well. It's going to be a really, really great event. So we hope that you all can join us for that. So stay tuned again for information about how to get signed up for that and how to register for Summit. So with that, Chris, do you want to talk about the webinar series?
Yes. So we are making a change with our current webinar series. We've actually gotten a lot of great feedback, and we've been starting, as you've seen in our blogs, we've been starting to release more videos in those blogs, and we're seeing the viewership of those really high. much higher than this new features webinar, and we're hearing that people really like that. And so we are planning to release new features and talk about them more in advance with blogs and with videos, so that they can be more easily watched and consumed as opposed to having to be on a certain webinar at a certain time. And so this webinar is actually going to transition into something that is a little bit more solutions focused, how to impact your ministry, how to use the tools to really make a difference within your church. And so don't worry, you're still going to be getting new feature updates through those blogs. So please, if you're not already subscribed to the blog feed, please do that. Watch out for that. We'll be releasing more videos there. We'll also be continuing to do regular roadmap updates. So don't worry, you're not going to miss out on that. Those will be a combination of either as part of the new webinar series or through other channels. And Michael Faulkner and Andrew are going to be leading this new series. And if you have not met Michael, I'm going to introduce him here in just a minute. He oversees our solutions team and is just a really passionate guy, out there serving the church, loves the church. He's been on the team for about a year, has really learned the system well, loves the church. And you already know Andrew, who oversees consulting. He works with so many of you on a day in and day out basis, helping you really utilize Touchpoint to its fullest. And so the two of them are going to be co-leading this webinar, and we'll bring in others from our team for various months. So don't worry, you'll still see me in other channels, but let me turn it over to Michael and Andrew so that they can say a little bit about what you can expect on this series.
Thanks, Chris. Yeah, so hello, everybody. Michael Faulkner, and I'm super excited about this series for a few reasons. One is, and ironically, Chris doesn't realize just how much of an influence he had on the title of this new series we're doing, but he and I talked a couple of weeks ago, and I had asked him a little bit about how we can provide more useful information to our church partners. And he said, well, interesting, you should say that. I actually did a thesis on it a long time ago about really trying to impact ministry and what's the point of technology if it doesn't help. And he did. He said, what's the point of technology if it doesn't help? And then the other day, Andrew and I were talking and we were like, what should we name this thing? And Andrew goes, what about what's the point? And I thought it's brilliant, because ultimately what it's doing is it's not about our technology. It's not about features and functions. It's ultimately church management tools. All those things are all about how can we minister or enable ministry? How can we enable you to better assimilate, disciple, and minister those that are part of your congregation? And so that's what we're going to name this is what's the point? And each week we're going to focus on one particular area where we see ways that you can streamline or make more efficient your ministry efforts. And obviously we'll tie it back from time to time to different tools and technology for making that happen. But ultimately the spirit of this webinar is impacting ministry.
Yeah, and so I'll add to that. The first two webinars that we're going to do within this series, the first one is going to be geared towards attendance, and as churches are coming back together all across the country, what's the point of taking attendance? That's kind of the thesis or the nature of the webinar is, well, we're going to take attendance. That's a given. But what's the point? Why are we going to do that? What are we going to do with that information? So that will be one of the first ones that we do. And then another of the first webinars that we have planned is actually going to be a co-webinar with another company called Mortarstone, and we're going to be talking about what to do with Easter follow-up. So Easter will have come and gone by that point. And we're going to talk about what does it look like to all that great information that we got from our guests at Easter. We're going to take that, and then what's the point? What are we going to do with that? And so that's really the focus. That's the theme of what Michael and I are going to be discussing. We're really excited about that series. So hope that you will come to those.
And we'll have experts join us each month as well. So you'll see Andrew and me pretty consistently, but you'll also have someone else joining.
All right. So with that,
so thank you, Michael, for joining us. And we are going to go answer some questions in the last few minutes that we have here. So somebody asked about, oh gosh, we've got a couple of good questions coming in here. Where do you access the check-in dashboard? That is underneath the report menu. And it is available for, I believe, anybody with the check-in role, and and I think you have to have the attendance role. So it will show with any staff that have those roles. Let's see, is self check-in coming for worship? So that is part of the mobile app that we released this fall. It's called pre-check-in, where you can actually check in on your mobile device and walk in and scan your attendance as you walk in the door. There are other ways of doing check-in and attendance that are through the mobile app or through texting or other things, in case you've missed out on some of those features that we rolled out this last year. And I'm sure they'll be touched on in the webinar next month related to attendance. Somebody does mention, and this is a great point, that as soon as you download a contact from the mobile app, it will not stay in sync with your phone. It's a static thing. That's how contacts work within Google and Apple. Unfortunately, we're not able to kind of update those on the fly. So if you do download something, if somebody does go in and update their information within Touchpoint, it will not update, but you can then re-download that contact another time. But some people like having them just right in your contacts if you're sending a lot of text messages or phone calls, because then it shows up in your caller ID and whatnot. Somebody's asking about registering for the blog. We will have to follow up with you individually on that. Sorry that you're not receiving those notifications, but we will make sure we get that straightened out. It's possible that maybe you had unsubscribed or it's hitting your spam folder or something, but we can help you figure that out. Or so we'll follow up with you individually on that.
Mary asks about downloading a contact from the app to your mobile device. What happens if an individual's information changes? Once you've downloaded that contact information to your device, it behaves the same way that just any other contact would in your phone. So if your friend moves or gets a new phone number or new email address, you will have to update that. Same thing with a contact that's downloaded from the mobile device or from the mobile app. If their information changes, you'll change it in Touchpoint, but then you will need to make sure that that is updated in your contacts as well.
Somebody's commenting on the rollout of new features and making sure that it doesn't impact Sunday. That's a great point. We actually put out a blog about that this week, where we are changing the way that we're doing new feature releases. That kind of goes in line with this new features webinar. Is we're going to be rolling out those features that impact how your staff uses the system only early in the week. We don't want to minimize anything that happens on a Sunday. If there are bugs or other fixes that we need to push out, we're going to be pushing those out as quickly as we're able to get those addressed. And so we have certain processes in place to make sure that those things have been tested, and that the impact on your Sunday is minimal or non-existent. And so moving forward, those releases related to new features will only happen on certain days of the week. So thank you for that feedback, and we've heard that loud and clear. So thank you. Got some other questions here that we might just have to follow up with individually. So, and we are right at the top of the time here, so we'll just have to follow up with these individually. But thank you so much for listening and giving us some great feedback, asking some great questions. Hopefully you'll enjoy these great new features, and as they are rolled out, you will see blogs about them. If there's something that impacts something that you currently do, we'll be blogging about them in advance. And if they are things that don't have an impact, we will be blogging about them as they get released. So stay tuned for those. And hope you join us next month for the first in our new series, on what's the point. So thank you, everyone.
Bye.